What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt as last video. Did you guys hear that Elon Musk just got a pay package of $1 trillion? So I want to pose the question, what would you do with $1 trillion? What would I do with $1 trillion? Now, I didn't have any, I don't do scripts and stuff like that, so I have nothing planned out for this video. I'm just going to talk. What would I do with $1 trillion? Now, I think what a lot of people would say, and I'm not sure how many of you are in the audience, but this is fine if you want to do this with $1 trillion, but you would like go nuts, right? You would buy like everything you ever wanted, have like crazy house, fucking maids, have like the coolest cars ever, have like a yacht the size of a fucking aircraft carrier or something. You would have everything you ever wanted. And you know what I would do? I'd pay off my house. I don't even know what I owe. I'd pay off my house. I don't have student loans or anything like that. That's already paid off. I don't have any car loans. I'd buy used cars in cash. So I don't really have any debt, but I would pay off the house. Once I pay off the house, I would buy an H1 Humvee. I would get that modified with some sort of system that's electronic. And to be clear, I would get a wagon. I would get a civilian wagon, and I would modify that thing and put solar panels across the entire top of it. I would make it raise up, and I would turn it into like a little camper type thing. And it would be entirely solar powered, and it would have 4 gigantic fucking motors at each wheel. And I would just use that to go anywhere the fuck I wanted. Or if I was feeling really spicy, I would get something even more ridiculous than a Humvee. Humvees are pretty awesome. They're kind of my dream car. I always have wanted a Humvee, but they cost like $100,000 and I don't make that much money. I'm not doing much better than a lot of you guys. Like, I struggle to make fucking ends meet, man. Like, but I would totally get a Humvee. Once I had my Humvee, I'd pay off my house and I would probably just keep living here. What I'm more interested in is helping the world become better. Because with $1 trillion, I can't even begin to imagine the good that I could do. Now, I would probably set up some sort of contingency plan where I have like X amount of dollars put away, maybe like $1 billion, not even that much, but I'd have a bunch of money just put away and a system in place where if absolutely fucking everything went to shit, I would still have that I could live on and just do whatever. With the rest of it, obviously my family and such would be set for life there, which isn't that much. And that's just not even a drop in the bucket of $1 trillion. So the first thing that we would need to do is we would need to analyze a whole bunch of problems that the world has. Hunger, water shortages, climate change, healthcare access. Just there's so many things that I could say, like access to education. There's a billion things that I could name. The first thing that I would do is I would create some sort of company. With that company, I would collect as many of the best people as possible. And that company's sole purpose would be to make people's lives better. Like, I don't want extra money. I don't need to continue being a trillionaire. Like, I will literally just make this company, have it operate in some fashion. You don't need to pay me a salary or anything. Like, I want people to get what they need. Now, I don't know how that works logistically, but with $1 trillion, oh baby, we're going to figure that the fuck out, because that's more money than like countries have. Significantly more money than a lot of countries have. We could build some insane shit with that much money. And we could build some especially insane shit with that much money if we paid the people that are working at that company, like the workers and stuff. If we paid them really, really well. Oh, I'm Mr. CEO and I make $50 million a year and we have, I don't know, like however many employees, divide that up amongst all of them. Give me like the same thing they get at the end. Like, I'm going to live in the same house. I've got my Humvee. Like, I've got all my shit in case the world gets nuked. I've got my fucking bug out bags. Like, I'm hopping in my Humvee and I'm fucking out. Like, we're good. Like, at that point, like, I just don't need the money. Like, what am I going to do with it? I don't need to get paid $53 million a month or whatever the fuck it is. I don't need to make it. And it's not even like, I don't know, man. I just don't need to accumulate that much wealth. So everybody would get paid really fucking well. The company would need to make money somehow. It's like company A, you pay company A $300 a month, but company A covers education, healthcare, this thing, that thing. And the only way that this works is by not giving people like direct money. Like, you don't want to like hand out money. That's not a bad thing to do. I'm just saying that that's not how this is going to work. This would be a means of like getting people off like their feet and like getting people up, like helping people up. So for example, it's like, let's just say it's like $100 a month. You know, everybody pays into this system. So you pay into the system, you get pregnant. Well, your company doesn't give you leave, right? So then like we would turn around and like give the company money to be like, she now has 2 months of vacation time or whatever is required. It's like we like give you money so that you just, or whatever system is in place at that point. Like, somehow we say, She's allowed to be out of work for 2 months and still have her job when she comes back. Cool. So something like that, where like everyone's paying into a system or like paying a subscription, I guess. And this could be a terrible idea. I don't know. I'm not a fucking expert. I'm no fucking genius, but I would bring people in who have good ideas that can collaborate on these kinds of things. And we would come up with ideas and we would come up with a system that just makes everyone's lives better. Basically, with $1 trillion, I would become the government that we want the government to be it's not being. I would be that. The taxes that I would collect would be a subscription fee of some kind. That sounds the same thing. I generate money through that, and most people don't necessarily use the services, so like we probably make a profit. Hopefully, I guess that's the idea, right? And then those who need the services use the services. So it's like, hey, I got pregnant, I need 2 months off, and we're like, cool, we'll pay your company to not be a fuckhead. And so like things like that, like issues at least in this country with our society, I would fix them, or I would make some sort of attempt to fix them, and I would bring in the best people to help me. Healthcare. Healthcare is a big fucking issue. Healthcare is way too expensive. And the reason that it's so expensive is because of insurance companies. Fuck those things. So the insurance companies make healthcare cost really, really high in this country. Hospitals just talk to insurance companies and like vice versa. And they make it so that the prices of things are outrageous. So if that's the system that I'm working with, yeah, I'd slide on in there, totally undercut every single one of them and be like, yeah, everything is like basically fucking free now. I'm the insurance company and I'm collecting $200 a month from like everybody. So sorry, I actually had to do the math on that. It's a casual $34 billion a month. That's if like half the country was like on my subscription service, which obviously is wishful thinking, but like this is obviously a theoretical idea in the first place. But if everything was perfect, I would just like crush as many of these terrible corporations as possible and make everything cheaper for everyone when it comes to healthcare at least. Or you know what would be it'd probably be better? I can't believe I'm going with this, but if it's some sort of subscription service, it'd have to be like a tiered system where it's like you pay $50 a month for this. If you want this, you pay $50 a month for that. And then it's like all the way out. Now we would have to do something about education costs, right? Maybe there's a tiered system where it's like, if you want education as well, you pay us like $100 a month for that. If you want like healthcare, you pay like $100 a month for that. If you want like paid family leave, you pay us like $20 a month for that, or whatever it is. I don't know. I would bring in people who would be good at this, who would kind of have better ideas than me. But anyway, we have this theoretical system where we could subsidize universities and stuff to make the tuition cost less or just pay for the tuitions. Like when you're bringing in money this way, I guess I have to do the math on it because I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, I couldn't help myself. I had to do the math, and I also changed my shirt, and I did my hair different too. Now, I've run some rough numbers here. I've done a little bit of research because I was actually curious, like, if I had that much money, is this idea even feasible? And so as it turns out, this is the country I want to move to. That's their GDP. Now, you might notice that this number is not $1 trillion. And you might also notice that this country happens to offer all of these services, which also happen to be the services that I'm describing, plus some more. So how do we go about this theoretical idea of making the world amazing? But basically, you'd have to start at the very, very foundational level. You would have to own a bunch of different mines where raw material is collected. So you would have to own copper mines. You would have to own aluminum mines like lithium, rare earth stuff. You'd have to own all the rare earth metals mines. And then you would extract all the stuff. And then once you had those, you would need a way to get them around to different places. And you would need a manufacturing network. So you buy all the mines. Not all the mines, but you buy a bunch of mines. They cost a couple $1 billion a piece, right? So I've got $1 trillion. I'm going to buy like 10 mines. I'm going to buy like 3 mines of each thing that I need. I'm going to spend like $20-30 billion on mines, okay? I'm going to get a bunch of mines going on. We're then going to create a bunch of manufacturing plants because what we want to do is we want to take the stuff from the mines and we want to make shit out of it. And then that shit that we make out of it, we're going to then use in our other like sectors. Now, this isn't a plan that can just be enacted overnight. This would take the whole thing, at least, that we're going to get to the bottom of in a second. It would take like at least 10 years, if not longer. But those are the first steps. Own the mines, create manufacturing plants. Okay. Then you need some sort of like global logistics network. Buying container ships and stuff, you're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars a piece, probably more in some situations, and you would need a bunch of those. I'm kind of curious. I just actually did a quick search on it. Yeah, it's like $200 million for like a gigantic container ship. So with $1 billion, I could have 5 of those. Now that's not including like maintenance, personnel, all the other stuff. But yeah, part of the key here and part of what I said in the beginning about this being capitalistic is that these companies have to be profitable in order to make this master plan work. Now, I used to sell something, and when I used to sell something, I would always sell it for as cheap as possible to get as many customers as possible. And man, did that work. And you know what the crazy thing about it is? I would foster competition. I wouldn't want to like smother all these other companies. I wouldn't try to buy them up or anything. No, no, no. I would just make my prices way cheaper than them, which would force them to lower theirs. But yeah, if I did this awesome thing, everything would get cheaper because I would offer things at a lower price, which would cause other companies to have to lower their prices as well. People could even buy stuff from me so that they could start their own businesses to like compete with me directly in whatever sector it might be. I would want that. But you need somebody with that much money to come in there and be like, you know what? I own everything at this point to be able to do everything that I need to be able to do. If you guys want to keep surviving these other companies, you're going to have to adapt and you're going to have to lower your prices. You're going to have to take in less money and less profit because if you don't, well, your company's going to go bankrupt because nobody's going to keep buying from you when your prices are 5 times higher than mine. And when I'm making products that are just as, if not better quality than you, while offering services that are higher quality as well for a cheaper cost. Doesn't this sound awesome? Don't you guys want to just give me $1 trillion? So I would apply that same principle to any of these other businesses and we would sell things for as cheap as we could. We're not interested in making a shitload of fucking money because we're not greedy. So we're going to sell stuff just like any other company, maybe for cheaper, maybe around the same cost. I don't know anything about like the market costs and the margins of like a mine, for example. I didn't go that deep into research, but you know, we would be able to sell it to other entities as well. That way we could make money because you can't just drop the money in the bucket and then never get a return on it if you want this to work. It has to like, your money has to like be able to build up. Now, another thing that you would need to do is own your own banks. So you would need to create banks and put your money in them. And this would also be a way to mitigate, you're not hampered by banks themselves. You're not, you know, there's no interest involved there. You just basically are the bank. So you're just like, fuck you. I'm going to do what I need to do with my money. I kind of skipped the rest of the thing, but yeah, you would need to have some sort of logistics network. So you spend several $1 billion on that. Maybe, I don't know, $50 billion, maybe more. I don't know yet. I didn't write this all down. I'm just saying you would spend, if it's $200 million for a mega ship, you would spend like $30 billion on your network or maybe $50 billion on the global network. That's more than ships. It's like airplanes, it's personnel for everything. It's the ground network, all that kind of stuff as well. So now you got that in line. Maybe you ship other things for people as well because you're profitable. And so at that point, dude, you can just go into anything. And I'm serious. You can literally get into anything at that point. One other thing that you would need to do, though, is you need to have some sort of like energy company. You would need to be able to generate your own energy, either through like solar, wind, something. You would need to be able to generate energy. I don't know how energy like money works. I guess that goes into the grid. I don't really know anything about that, but I would just create that because you would need to have some sort of energy and you don't want to pay people for that. You want to make it yourself. And so once you have energy, mines, manufacturing, and logistics, you can literally do anything. You want to make affordable houses? Okay, cool. I'm going to just own these lumber mills. I own all these factories that do concrete and steel, and I own the means of production to get everything around. I own the logistics. I have manufacturing companies that make like fixtures and things like that. We would make insulation, like everything you would need for a house. It's just like, yeah, I own all that. And the cost of everything would just be really, really low because just like with the manufacturing, I would own everything up. I would own the mines, the plants, and everything that they need to make and how to distribute it. Same thing here. I would own like the lumber mill. I would own all the manufacturing plants, ways to get it to places, and it would just be super cheap. I would then create universities, or maybe I would do this at the same time as the other stuff, but you would create a university, get it accredited, a couple $1 billion per campus if you need to, you know, cool. We'd make our own pharmaceutical companies. We would have like our own like network of stuff for healthcare. And then, yeah, dude, when everything's done, or I guess along the way, we would be charging subscription service fees for like whatever service we currently offer at the time for a reasonable price. And we would also make things for other companies as well. We'd own mines. We'd own factories. We'd own this, that, and the other thing. We'd own fucking banks. And so this benevolent network of awesomeness that I'm imagining would be able to be sustainable and scalable. Because I'm basically just describing a self-contained economy, which is what a country is. Although they're not as self-contained anymore because the world is pretty globalized in terms of like the global economy. You know, everybody's kind of like mixed around with different things. But yeah, you would have to basically just get the means of production for as many things as possible, the logistics, and then from there, you could basically branch out into anything. You could literally make any company you wanted. Now, the GDP of Norway, which is where I want to move, like $500 billion. Their population is less than this country, obviously, but they have a scalable system. They collect taxes, which is just my subscription fee, and mine's optional. You don't have to pay that. If you don't want to pay for my stuff, you don't have to pay for my stuff. But for people that would want to pay for it, that hate their fucking healthcare plan system bullshit, that hate all this bullshit that they have to deal with on a daily basis, they can't fucking afford anything, they can't do anything, life fucking sucks. Dude, pay me $300 a month. You have everything ever. That's in addition to all of these businesses just being profitable because I'm selling stuff to other corporations that need stuff. Or maybe we make consumer goods of some kind at that point because we can literally do anything because we branched out into anything. Or maybe I'm just making a bunch of money on interest that you're putting into my banks. I don't know. But this idea is actually not completely fucking crazy. And I'm telling you, dude, if I had the means, I would do this. I would literally do this. I have considered starting a Kickstarter for fucking $1 trillion for this video, just as a joke. And just being like, I too would like $1 trillion, except I would actually use it to do something good. Anyway, I have no idea where I'm going to put this into the video, so bye. But when you have a system like this where people are paying into it a lot, I'll just give you an example. Like, you talk about the insurance companies. Well, they're profitable. People pay the insurance companies because they pay them every month. And at the end of the month, the amount of people that don't get treatment and stuff, or I guess not get treatment, but the amount of people that need treatment versus the amount of people that don't, like the amount of money they got paid by the whole was enough where they made profit. That's not including people that they were like, oh yeah, you don't need treatment, so like just keep paying us, then we're not going to give you anything. That's how they make money in a system that actually gave a shit, where making a ton of profit was not at the forefront. Making profit is important for the business to keep operating, but you need to be able to provide care to people. So we would just do that. Dude, with $1 trillion, I will manufacture fucking everything. I will create whatever companies I need to manufacture fucking anything I need, and I will just own all the means of production for everything and just be like, oh yeah, cool. You can just buy all this shit from us and it's going to cost a lot less. So like, dude, with $1 trillion, with $1 trillion fucking dollars, you can make the world so much better. Maybe my ideas suck. I don't fucking know. You're going to tell me in the comments, I'm sure, the 4 of you that watch this video. But I'm curious what you guys would do with $1 trillion. $1 billion. God, can you imagine what you would do with $1 billion? Imagine having 1,000 times that. Like I said in the start of this video, I didn't like write anything down for this. I'm not like, let me make an outline for this or something like that. Nope. I just sat in front of my camera and started talking. So I'm sure that there's a lot of things I could think of, or that other people could think of, where we're like, we need to fix all these problems too. It's like, yep, let's do it. My company will fix fucking everything with $1 trillion. The only thing we won't be able to fix is like going to the moon and stuff, because that costs insane amounts of money. But if you had $1 trillion and your company was that profitable and everybody loved it and like everybody was paid well and like people loved working there and like the whole thing was just fucking great, then maybe it would be profitable enough where it could go into those sorts of things and like really start to push our society forward rather than pushing our society into a box. I don't want to say backward, but like into a box. That's what it's doing right now. That's what technology and governments and all kinds of things are doing. It's just pushing society into a box. And eventually society's going to break out of the box like it always does. And then it'll be fine for a while. It'll be great. And then we'll be forced back into the fucking box again. And then this cycle will repeat forever because the universe is a fractal. There would just be so many programs that we would develop that would just make people's lives better, man. That's what we would do. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to make people's lives better. I really, really do. I really do. I've always felt like I got to do something, but I'm too fucking lazy to do anything. So I'm going to make this video and say, if there was a world where somehow a fucking $1 trillion fell into my lap, I would change the world for the better, sincerely. And this is something that I've said my entire life. When people ask me what would I do with this much money or this much money, my answer's always been the same. Because I don't need money to be happy. I realized that a long, long time ago. I just need to play Warhammer 24/7. Then I'm happy. And when I'm done playing Warhammer, when the night winds down and I can't stand anymore, I want to play Magic. And then the next day, maybe I want to go outside, play with my RC cars. That is what I want to do. That is what makes me happy, doing things. But sitting around with $1 trillion just because, I just don't relate to it. I just don't need it. Like, I just don't need it, man. I just don't need it. Now, kind of completely off topic from that, for making everybody's lives better and being great, I would make my current company, the one that I own, I would pick that up off the ground finally. That's been very slow rolling. That's just totally done by me. So I play a tabletop game, 40K, Warhammer 40K. I've been playing it since I was like fucking tiny, which I still am. But 40K is a game that I've played for a long time. And there was a point where I was like, you know, I'm tired of the editions changing all the time. I'm going to create my own game. So I started creating my own game, and I wrote like a bunch of rules for it, a whole bunch of different factions, a bunch of lore, and all that kind of stuff. I would get that game off the ground. I would get all the models designed. I would get all the stuff published. Like I would get it marketed. It'd be awesome. So that is one thing that I would do with that money. But again, drop in the bucket, $1 trillion. Okay, like here's $1 million for your startup. It's literally like 0.001% or something like that. It's not a lot. I wouldn't even need to do that. I would just take that out of the funds that I set away for me in case everything exploded. Like, I would just be like, oh, I only have $999 million set away now. Like, You know what I'm saying? Like I would get that off the ground. That will eventually get off the ground. It's just gonna take a little bit. So let me know what you guys would do with $1 trillion. I wish I had more ideas to kind of put into this video. Maybe I'll change my shirt and put more stuff in here. I'm not sure. But so I think that's going to do it. If you guys enjoyed the video, then hit all the buttons. Like, subscribe, check out the other channel, the other videos. They're all really cool. Thanks to you 5 people that watched the video. I'll see you next time.